Hey everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to another edition of The Daily here with Andrew Wiebe. I'm Nick Fershaw, starting off the week with Jurgen Klinsmann's 24-man camp for that big World Cup qualifier against Honduras later this week. The list is out. It came out on Monday morning. 24 guys, 7 from MLS. Really, Andrew, not a ton of surprises. A lot of the superstars are here, a lot of the peripheral guys. What do you make of the roster?
Yeah, Nick, this is pretty much what we expected. You've got all the regulars in there, the Josie Altidores, Tim Howards, Michael Bradleys. Those guys are all here. But Jurgen Klinsmann stayed true to his promise. He said, look, 7 or 8 guys from this January camp are going to make their way to Honduras, and that is the case. You've got that young new crop of American center backs, your Matt Beaslers, Omar Gonzalez's. They're there. We'll see how much of a role they play. Maybe one of them steps in for Carlos Bocanegra. Perhaps it's Bocanegra and Cameron. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But 2 key absences, 2 that we expected. Steve Cherundolo obviously out with that injury, and then Landon Donovan still waiting to see what he'll do. But either way, I think this is a very strong roster, one that'll go into Honduras expecting to get a result. But the Hondurans, they're already talking trash.
Another popular name not on this list, that's Brek Shea. Obviously, he's had the injuries since the last fall, and you mentioned some of those MLSers, some other guys getting their shot here. Brad Davis from the Houston Dynamo, Eddie Johnson from the Seattle Sounders. He's back in the mix. Maybe one of the snubs, Kyle Beckerman from Real Salt Lake. I think that's really one of the few surprises that people were expecting. You mentioned the Honduran roster. Andy Najar was expected to be on that roster. He was called into camp, but he will not appear in the game because of injury. Again, the U.S. national team and Honduras, February 6th down in San Pedro Sula. The road to the World Cup begins here. Next up, a trade in the works on Monday. The Columbus Crew have been actively shopping Dilly Duca for the past couple of weeks. They have found a suitor in the Chicago Fire. The Fire getting Duca, and they're shipping off Dominic Oduro, a guy who played well for them the last couple of years until last season where he started to fade out. Who gets the better end of this deal?
Overall, I think it's a pretty even trade, Nick, but I'm going to give it to the Fire. The key there, they get the right of first refusal to Robbie Rogers. Just a little note in that deal. Right now, no longer with Leeds United, looking for a club. I would expect him to come back to MLS after an injury-ridden time over there in England. If he's healthy and motivated, that could be a big pickup for them. But on the other side, the Crew needed a forward. All they had up there was Jairo Arrieta, and then they also had Ryan Finley from the draft. So this gives them another proven striker. They got with a lot of speed, someone to link up with Federico Higuain.
So the Crew get Dom Oduro, but they give up, you said it, the rights to Robbie Rogers. Imagine if he were to come back to MLS, really a Crew icon, one of the players they really identify with in a jersey for the Chicago Fire. It could happen in 2013. Well, another trade in the works, certainly not done as of early Monday morning, but Eric Hassli from Toronto FC going to FC Dallas, who've been rumored all weekend, and even Schellas Hyman, the head coach down in Dallas, saying this is the guy he wants. This is a proven commodity for both the Vancouver Whitecaps, and then a short stint for Toronto FC. Can he really give FC Dallas some help in 2013?
Yeah, I think he can. Like Robbie Rogers, he has to stay healthy, and that's been the issue with Eric Hassli over his career in MLS. When he's healthy, he scores, and the other thing he does that people don't give him credit for, he sets up his teammates for chances, and Dallas needs another striker. We talked about the troubles in Columbus. Well, they have the same thing in Dallas, and they've also got a guy in Blas Perez that's going to be gone for perhaps even 10 games this year with Gold Cup duty and various other responsibilities with Panama. So Schellas Hyman, he knew he had to get someone in. This looks like the guy. The second time in a year that these two teams have traded DPs. Both times that DP going to Dallas.
Hyman, they have some money to spend now that they've gotten rid of Brek Shea off to Stoke last week. They got some money to spend. We'll see if they spend it on Eric Hassli. I'm sure we'll talk about that and a whole lot more on the latest edition of Extra Time Radio. The podcast comes out on Monday on iTunes, Buzzsprout, Stitcher Radio. One interview in the can. That's with Kai Kamara from Sporting Kansas City. He spoke with Andrew and Greg Lawless last week, gave us some insight into his loan to Norwich City. Check out the podcast on Monday. That does it for us. We'll see you back again tomorrow.